Hello there, my name is Mcleish, and I've been asked here by the Nottingham Paranormal Network to come and answer some questions about mediumship, which I'm honoured to do.
Okay, excellent, okay. So for those who don't understand or know what a medium is, how would you describe what a medium is and what they do?
For me, mediumship is about connecting spirit dimension with the earth plane dimension. So mediums are the middlemen, women who transfer messages from spirit people to earthbound people, and they use a variety of different ways, whether it be through mental mediumship, which is the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the clairaudience, so they see and hearing and feeling, or through physical means, trance. So everyone's slightly different, and you know, everyone has to work out what's best for them. So
okay.
They can,
yeah. So is mediumship something that you yourself are born with, or is it something that we have to develop?
Well, there's two questions in there. We all have the gift. So are we born with it? Yeah. Is it something we develop? Yes. So just because we all have the gift, it doesn't mean to say that we're all singing, all dancing, and we just switch the light on and we can work. Mediums are best described like radio channels. So some people might be on Trent FM, somebody might be on BBC One or whatever.
That's quite a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, so different mediums will be of a different frequency, and spirit will be of a different frequency, and it's about blending those frequencies to get the connection. But how I see mediumship is, once we're born, we learn to walk, we learn to run, and everyone can walk and run, as the saying goes, but how many of us actually go to the Olympics to do walking or running or whatever event that we specialise in? So with what I do, I'm going to the Olympics with what I do. And yes, I take coaching from more experienced mediums, because, as I say, I'll be learning how to improve what I do until the day I die, and pass through to spirit.
That's fantastic. So spirit guides and gatekeepers, and you mentioned spirit in that statement you just mentioned, so yeah. Could you explain what they are and what their role is?
Yeah, there are different elements to spirit with regards to mediumship. I have a gatekeeper who is, if you like, my main guide, and that person is with me until I pass to spirit, and they control basically what I do, how I do it. They are my tutor, if you like, in the spirit world. So what's the difference between a gatekeeper guide and a spirit guide? Well, the gatekeeper is my spirit guide, but that person is responsible. So say I need to develop my clairaudience, my hearing better, it'd be up to my gatekeeper to find a spirit guide that will be able to teach me or improve my clairaudience. And then once that person has taught me to their level, yeah, then they go off and help somebody else, and then I'll get somebody else. So spirit guides can change. They're not there constantly for a day and an age until you pass. Your gatekeeper guide will bring in the relevant guides for whatever it is that you need to develop. They will find the right guide to help you, and they will then guide you until you've got to the level that they can guide you at, and then it goes on a tiered
I can see how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously we all have them then, in that sense.
Yeah.
So when a skeptic is critical of mediumship, I mean, what is your typical response to that?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fraud out there, and yes, you can make money at it, but at the end of the day, if somebody's skeptical, then that's good, because they're not going to be conned. So it's a good idea just to have an awareness of what the process is, how it works, and that they're not going to get sort of shortchanged, if you like.
To be always objective.
Yeah, to be objective. It's not about crossed arms and come on then, impress me. You know, it's not about that. Because you know, if somebody did that to me, I'd say, off you go. It's not about me impressing them. but there has to be a healthy skepticism, just to keep the person who wants our reading safe.
Okay, that's good. So spiritualism over the past 10 years or so has seen like a major resurgence. What do you think is driving this need for spirit?
There's been a lot of media attention, a lot of programs, Most Haunted, Medium, and so on and so forth, and that's driven a lot of people's interests. On a personal, I think it's probably down to the fact that the world we live in isn't such a nice place anymore, and people are perhaps hoping there is something else, and that's where the interest comes from.
Okay, you mentioned a ghost whisperer and a medium and Most Haunted. How close do you think they actually are to being a medium? How close are the series taking the aspects of mediumship into their show?
There are quite a lot of good aspects taken from mediumship brought into these type of shows in the films like Sixth Sense and so on and so forth, where people perhaps don't know that they've passed to spirit and things like that. So there is a lot of good aspects taken. However, in the same front, a lot of the programs try to sensationalize it, and try to put the fear factor into it, which spirit is just not about. Spirit's about love, not about fear, and I feel my personal view is that these programs do a disservice to spirit.
Okay, so obviously you mentioned there about Living TV's Most Haunted. I mean, what's your opinions on Most Haunted?
Well, like many people, I watched it in the early days, but for me, my own personal opinion is I stopped watching it because it's really hacked me off. And the only analogy I can sort of do for that is the childhood game where you knock on somebody's door and then you run away, and then you go back to the door, knock on the door, and then run away. And that's what these guys were doing. It's like, is anybody there? Oh my god, I've seen an orb! Ah! And then you scream and run away, and oh my god, somebody's throwing something. Well, excuse me, you're asking, is anybody there? They're giving you evidence, whether it be orbs, whether it be physical manifestation, thrown objects in a room or whatever, and you're going to go and scream. I mean, it's just insensitive to spirit and disrespectful. You're coming on knocking our door, we're coming to say hello, and then you're running off. I mean, it's just childish. If you're going to knock on somebody's door, at least have the decency to say, hey, let's have a conversation, show what mediumship and spirit is all about, not this.
Yeah, because I mean, likewise, we obviously can't talk about Most Haunted without a lot of viewers will say that a lot is played up to camera. There was the story of obviously Derek before. I mean, whether I have no disrespect to him. I think he's done a lot of people got good justice, but I mean a lot of people say a lot of bad things about him.
Well, people can say a lot, and people do say a lot of bad things about a lot of mediums, and some of it is justified. However, the program is there about making TV. It's about making TV. It's about Hollywood, if you like, trying to sensationalise it, make it interesting, grab the viewer's attention. But if they actually looked at what spirit work is all about, it'd be far more interesting than what they're portraying as it is at the minute. And I feel they're trying to push the boundaries and push their luck with what they're doing. There's a lot of, in my personal feeling, a lot of disrespect on how they actually work.
I mean, one of my pet hates, so to speak, about these paranormal shows, which there are so many. Paranormal State has started, which is very good, but obviously it fires the two paranormal investigators. At the beginning of each show, they always say that it's a entertainment-based show.
Yeah, differing opinions exist as to the true nature of mediumship. Therefore, this program is for entertainment purposes only. That hacks me off no end, because the law in the UK has changed, and the Fraudulent Mediums Act's been revoked and has been replaced by the Unfair Trade and Commercial Practices Directive. It's something like that, but it basically means it targets people who fraudulently oversell their abilities and overpromise and telling people's futures and things like that. So it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, you know, mediums have a responsibility to people. I was involved in doing one of my gigs, if you like, and I wanted to be so specific and hit people in the face with a wet fish because I was so accurate. But I learned a very valuable lesson that night, and quite frankly, skeptics, yeah, I appreciate what you do and you've got a useful purpose, but you annoy me as well, because I based my mediumship on satisfying the skeptics, and I shouldn't have done that, because you'll never convince a skeptic. You know, no matter how much evidence you show them, they'll just say, oh, that's interesting. They'll never actually commit themselves. And when I wanted to go to this woman in the audience, said, I need to talk to you about suicide and your suicide attempt and the things that you've done. No, you don't. And I gave a bit more evidence. No, you don't. No, don't know what you're talking about. No, no, no. So in a room full of 100 odd plus people, you're looking a bit of a numpty. But I knew exactly where I was with this woman. I knew exactly what I was talking about, and I knew I had to talk about suicide. But she denied it, every single piece of it. But I thought, Spirit, give me more evidence, give me more accurate evidence, make it bum 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 bum. And no matter what they gave me, I always got a no. At the end, I just said, right, I'm drawing the evening to a close. Obviously it's not working tonight. Drew the evening to a close, had a few people coming up talking to me, and this lady came up and talked to me and apologised, said, I'm sorry. I says, don't worry, it's obviously my fault, I've got something wrong. I need to go back to the drawing board and work out, well, why was I so misguided or whatever. I need to go back and have a chat with people, my guides and everything, just work out, no, sorry, you don't understand, it's not your fault. I did try to commit suicide. I did do the other things that you said, but the people I came here tonight with don't know that I tried to do all these sort of things. And if I had said anything, I'd have just opened up a can of worms for myself, and people would have been asking me so many questions that I really don't feel I want to open up. And it was at that point I realised I have a duty of care. Yes, I want to be accurate and give the middle digit to the skeptics, but my biggest responsibility is to the people that I give the message to keep them safe and to keep their integrity private, and I have a duty of care to them as a medium to protect them. And so if people say, oh, I'm a bit woolly, because what I should have said is, oh, I'm coming to the lady there, would you understand someone who would have had suicidal thoughts? Now the skeptics would have said, well, that's bloody woolly X, Y and Z, but at the end of the day that woman might have said, yes, I understand where you are, because she would know that I was talking about her, and I'd have protected her identity, etc.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so unfortunately there are a lot of charlatans out there who are set in their ways about making money on a hustle. A good example is a few years ago I attended a private reading with a renowned medium who was also a palmist. Later at the same event I had my friend go in, and before I went I said, well, here's my details, my date of birth, my name, etc. and see if they get the same information, or see if it's different, because you are a different person, they would pick up on that. And unfortunately, actually gave literally to the script the same message that I got, and he actually recorded it. And it really was like someone was reading off a script, and it was pretty bad. Since the person's quite renowned, it was quite bad to know that they did that. So I mean, how hard is it, as you being a medium, to be taken serious when there are those who are out there who act in this way?
Well, it's one of the reasons why we're all tarred with the same brush, and everyone thinks, oh no, well, not everyone, that's not fair, but a lot of people think, well, we're all frauds, because you know, it's always those sort of people that hit the headlines and make good news. I think the clue is really in the question. You exchanged the same details, so you're obviously asked the same details. If you go for a reading and people are asking you no-ended questions, I'd get up and walk out, because when you come to me for a reading, I can only tell you what I get told, and it might not even be who you want to hear it from, but I have no control on that. I can only tell you what I get told, and that's what they should do. They should, however they work, tune in, get their gatekeeper and their guide to bring through the relevant people who want to speak and have an orderly queue, and communicate directly with spirit. That is what mediumship is, and that's where you get the information. So I don't ask questions, I don't look for anything. Yeah, there might be the occasion where I need to ask for clarity, because what I'm getting, a pictogram or a picture in my mind's eye, just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'll literally tell the people what I'm seeing, how I feel about what I'm seeing, and 9 times out of 10 they'll understand what it means. For example, I had a friend who wanted to know if her mother was nearby, and so obviously it's hard when you're reading for it, you know a lot of information already. So I just said, right, well, it doesn't make sense to me, but I feel like I'm going for a drive and I'm seeing buttercups. Well, her mother loved driving, she had a yellow car and she called it Buttercup. So is that making things fit or not? You know, it plays well into the skeptic's hand, but at the end of the day, I can only tell you what I get, and if it doesn't make sense to you, I'll tell you, and if you understand it, brilliant. If not, and as has happened, I've told people things, and they've gone, no way, to come back later and say, God, how did you know that? I says, I didn't, they did. You know, I can only tell you what I get told, and that's why, you know.
I mean, there is a question I've always liked to ask a medium quite. There's a substantial amount of money for the evidence of mediumship and paranormal phenomena. There's £2.4 million in prizes. I've actually had to check that out on Wikipedia, of all the various institutions that were offering the money. And no one has stepped up to even make a claim for anybody since 1922, when George Valentine said that, and claimed that in the presence of a trumpet, the spirits would speak through the trumpet only if the room was dark. So in 1922 they set up a darkened room. He sat on a chair, but unbeknownst to him, they actually put a pressure sensor on the chair. And the phenomenon happened where someone spoke through the trumpet, but what had happened in the darkened room is that the sensor got off on the chair, he actually got up and spoke through the trumpet. So therefore, ever since that very day, no one has yet stepped forward for any prize in paranormal or mediumship. And why do you think that is?
Quite simple. The people that are running those so-called prize experiments, they're experiments with a reward, they are, one, very biased in proving that it is all fake, so there's a bias in the experiment there already. Secondly, Mr. Randy, who is one of the main instigators of the challenges and getting other people to generate challenges, he's a very excellent magician and sleight of hand artist. And I've seen him do some work where the camera's zoomed right in him, sleeves rolled up, etc, etc, and you just can't work out how he did it. Now, I'm not wanting him to come and sue me, but my personal feeling is about it, I wouldn't let him near me because I wouldn't trust him. I believe because of his strong doubt and his want to disprove it, that he would fake it, he would manipulate the data in some way that nobody would be aware of or could tell how he did it to prove, because that's his argument, because he wouldn't want to be proved wrong. However, that said, well, where does that leave us? It leaves us with where I feel are more professional people, and for example, Professor Archie Roy, the Scottish Centre for Psychic Research, he has worked with many mediums, and Gordon Smith, the psychic barber, I believe has worked quite extensively with him. So there are mediums who are willing to work with more professional bodies now. Professor Archie Roy is based at Glasgow University, and there are other affiliated institutions which do similar level and quality of research. Now, they're neither there to prove it or disprove it, they're there to
document the evidence, of course.
Document the evidence, whatever that evidence may be, and it's subjective, so whether they accept or reject the null hypothesis, that's there to be decided. But there are very eminent mediums who are working with people like Professor Roy, showing, well, this is what we do, this is how we do it, do whatever you want to do to us.
So obviously on a lighter note, so I don't want to...
No, that's fine. They're just more professional people out there to do that type of work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up this interview for the Simply M production, is there anything else you wish to discuss to the viewers who might be watching here today? Obviously when they get to watch this DVD or watch it online, is there anything you actually would like to tell them about mediumship, or perhaps we haven't discussed, or perhaps the ways they can get into it if they like?
Yeah, if they want to get into it, the quickest and easiest way is to contact your local spiritualist church. They usually have circles, as they're known, development circles, and you can go along and talk to like-minded people and just explore and discover new understanding within spirit world. The main thing that I would really want to say to them is that spirit is about love, not fear or coming and attacking you or anything like that, which TV may want to portray. It is not about that. It's about love, and when people communicate through a medium, I just wish people could feel the love that I feel when I get somebody talking through me or coming through me. The love that they actually project into my aura, if you like, into my being, is so profound that if people understood the love that spirit have, they wouldn't be frightened. And my job, one of my mission statements, is to take the Hollywood, if you like, out of mediumship and prove that mediumship is about that love. It's about a bigger picture, not what you may well see on TV. And yeah,
in like Hollywood, as you said, there's so many programs which obviously portray supernatural events as being quite a scary experience, like people coming from the floor, shadows moving, grabbing you and pulling you down.
It can be. I mean, Echo Bodine is a healer who's an American. She wrote a book once, the name escapes me, but it helped me understand not to be scared of spirit. And I'm sure the exact story, but the meaning is there, whereby a person had taken their own life and they'd done it in this building, elevator shaft or whatever, and so certain time and whatever, the white sheets, the chains rattle, ooh, and scare people away. And you think, oh my goodness me, to have a field day there. But as mediums, when we go and do like soul rescue work, as it's called, where we help people who either don't know that they've passed to spirit to go through the light, or to help people who have got various issues to go through the light. And sometimes you're like a policeman. You go into a situation where it's quite hostile and you're not sure what the crack is, but you have to allow people their argument and their side of the story, and then you realise, oh my goodness me, yeah, no wonder you feel this way. So like this person who had taken their life hadn't gone through the light, so to speak, because time had passed since them doing that, and their mum and dad had passed to spirit, but the mum and dad had abused the person. So this person that took their life didn't want to go through the light because they didn't want to meet their mum and dad again and get re-abused. So when you understand that, you think, oh my gosh. And the emotion, you say, look, let me help you. Let me get the angels, let me get the guides and bring the right people to come and help you and take you through the light. And so it's about helping, it's about healing spirit as well.
Like, spirit counselling.
Spirit counselling, healing. People come to spiritualist churches or whatever to get the laying on of the hands for healing. When I do the soul rescue work, I'm there to help heal spirit and help them on their journey, because that's as important as anything. And what's more than that, really?
Okay. So is there anything you'd actually like to ask me as the interviewer to speak about a particular view or opinion that you'd be happy to include in the video, DVD, or this?
I'm just open to. I am what I am. I do what I do to the best of my abilities, and at the end of the day, people make up their own minds. I'm not there to convince people one way or another. So it's organisations like yourself who are willing to go into situations that perhaps other people are scared of to get the facts.
That's right.
And to prove, well, that could have been that lorry going down the road or not. And it's through scientific developments like that and scientific processes of getting rid of the explainable excuses to then explore the unexplainable and to get to the true nature of evidence,
because what happens and how it happens.
Yeah, evidence can be very subtle, and as a spirit comes to me, can be very subtle, and it's quite a lot of hard work on both our parts to keep that connection. People come to us wanting specific answers. Well, I can only tell you if I get told, but sometimes it's not up to spirit to tell you, because at the end of the day, you should it's your life, live it. Don't live it by what a medium, whatever, tells you, because we're only there as guidance or to confirm something that you already know. Don't go to someone to have your future told, because
I want to know how much is in my will.
Well, exactly. What's the lucky lottery numbers? If it was that easy, we wouldn't be here. At the end of the day, it's your life. You've got free will, and whatever, if you do have to have a future, it's up to you to direct it the way you want it directing. It's up to you to make the decisions you want to make in life. And yeah, it's nice to get confirmation or reconnect and have that closure that some people look for as well.
Yeah, some people do see that, like, they probably didn't say sorry or didn't say goodbye.
Yeah, or that connection. But at the end of the day, there are many different mediums out there, but you'll get a gut feeling as to who's the right or the wrong person. There are a lot of if you want a reading, go to the church, a spiritualist church, because they have a development group which is in a closed circle rather than an open circle where anybody can go. So this closed circle is people who are specifically wanting to develop their skills, and they quite often will invite people to come and have readings, and it might cost you a fiver to go to the church and let the trainees loose on you, because at the end of the day we need to train and learn through experience. It's learning on the job, if you like.
Yeah.
Because no one person's the same, no one reading's the same. It's an experiment. It's not entertainment, it's an experiment. There are no guarantees, and we just have to see what happens, and hopefully we can connect. If we can't, we can't.
Okay. Well, thank you then, Alex, for this interview here for the DVD, which will probably be published online as well. And I thank you for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you, and good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.